Welcome to Universal Talk. And today we have a special guest, Michael Tellinger, and also Teresa Ippoletti. And we've come together here today to do a channel for Michael in regards to his book, Slave Species. And I'm not quite sure what's going to come out of all this, but we're going to film it. And Michael, I believe you're in South Africa. Is that where you're at currently?
That's right. I'm right in the mountains of Mpumalanga, which is the very northern part of the Drakensberg. And for all those people that saw the 2012 movie, I'm in the perfect place to be.
Okay, great. Okay, so those who have watched or have listened to Universal Talk, the radio show, and logged on to the website, Michael was no stranger, and neither is Terry. And I figured that it would be a really cool idea to get the two of these guys together and have Terry channel an entity, if you will, from the very beginning of time and human existence, and then allow Michael the opportunity to ask the questions that may help him in his research and his work. So with that being said, we're going to give Terry the opportunity now to just go within, and with the notion that we're going to call upon the entity that actually had come through yesterday to give us some insight on who we were as a species and how we developed and where we are now and where we are going.
And I would say that you could talk for a little while while I get myself
right.
Just.
Okay. So meanwhile, while Terry's getting herself acclimated here, Michael, is there anything that you found that's new or that you could give us an update?
Oh yeah, a lot of new information. Just confirming what we discussed the previous time we had a chat. In many of my interviews, I've been talking about the fact that the stone circles and the stone structures that we're discovering here, I have put together my theory and hypothesis that they were used, well, not all of them, but many of them were used as energy generating devices, using sound frequency and standing waves, and turning that into a form of energy with which they did all the gold mining and all other kinds of mining. And not only that, they used that energy for levitation, for crushing, for everything they needed to do, for heating, and so forth. What that was the theory that I had based on purely putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And then recently we did some measurements that were absolutely astounding to prove pretty much that my theory has been true. Not that I doubted it, because I've had so many psychics and people come forward and tell me exactly the same thing, or confirming what I believed or what I put together from the pieces of the puzzle. And again, I didn't just come up with this. It's you can call it a scientific exploration that's taken a long time to put the pieces of the puzzle together, to figure out what was going on here a long time ago. And a long time ago, we believe from about 300,000 years ago. And so we did some measurements, and to our absolute astonishment, found that there is a very high energy, sound energy, that comes out of the ground inside these stone structures, the stone circles. It's been described by the guy that measured it as a column of energy that arises from the ground and moves up into the air. And secondly, he measured the energy and the sound frequencies coming out of the walls at about 72 dB, which is very loud, like rock concert loud almost, and at 14.5 gigahertz frequency, which means it is screaming at us all the time, but we can't hear it. So we've got live energy devices here that have been working for so long and are still currently working, and I believe it's a combination of tapping into the energy in the ground, in the soil of Mother Earth, that comes out everywhere, all over the surface. and using that sound frequency as a source of energy. And we need to start doing a lot more work and a lot more research in this area.
Absolutely. So, where do you see yourself in the next coming weeks?
Well, I've got Kerry Cassidy here next week from Project Camelot, and she's come to have a look at these ruins and do some interviews, and I've organized a talk for her and me in Johannesburg in 2 weeks' time. And then I'm coming to the United States in August. I'm coming to do my little tour of the United States and hopefully do about 20 appearances all over the USA. And so I might as well just use this opportunity. Hopefully I'm going to do one with you in your area, Joe.
Absolutely. Yeah, if there's any way that I can help promote that, I mean, I'm definitely a willing participant with that.
And then if whoever is listening to this interview, if they want to get involved and maybe assist me in doing a talk, if you want me to come and talk in your town or your city, just email me, and all I need is a venue, and that's pretty much it. Venue, and then we'll do the PR collectively, and hopefully we can get a bunch of people in there that I can come and share some of our discoveries with.
Right. How many people would you say, so this all works out, do you think that 100 people would be an adequate venue, or an adequate amount of people, I should say, or more?
Yeah, 100 people would be wonderful. You know, anything more than that will be incredible. And so far I've had some really positive responses and feedback from people who have offered their services and help to set up some talks and find venues for me. So if all things continues like it has been, today was really the first day that I started promoting this via email, and so far it's been going really well. Very positive feedback. So in the next 2 weeks, hopefully we'll finalize everything with the people in about 20 places around the USA, and then I can actually start promoting it and actually put a time and a date to the venue and the town that I'll be talking at.
Perfect. Okay, I think Terry might be ready now.
We are now in a position to allow this energy to flow easily. We are listening to the communication and allowing the vessel to take a trip to your position, your location. In the meantime, we bring this energy to allow the conversation to flow for what is the energy stream of what you are asking to understand in this vibration of energy.
Is my understanding of the way that they use the energy accurate, or is it more or less accurate?
In your research, for you to be in this research, you actually are carrying that energy to expose this information. This information can be a drive. There is an inner drive that is coming that is not of what you would expect in the ego mind, but it is a feeling that it must be exposed. This is because you are actually allowing this new transition of time to create and to allow those who have been in the dark for such a long time to come out of the dark, to come back into the light. You are exposing the truth of at a higher frequency of energy. And much of your information comes as though you are the channel of that information through your research, the studying, the drive that you have, even the ability to find the information comes from a higher awareness within yourself.
Do you know who is responsible for feeding me the information or channeling the information to me?
You are receiving this information from very early on, from the beginnings of the time frame of the species. It is almost as if we could tap into this energy. It would be easier to be in your energy stream, to understand where you once created early in the species during the extraterrestrial visitations.
Would it be accurate to say that our species was then created by extraterrestrials for a specific reason and a purpose on this planet?
We do remember that there has been, and there still is, what you would call extraterrestrial involvement from the very beginning. And it is like almost as if you would look at the earth as an experiment of some type. Or in another way of looking at this energy is to see there are different time frames of evolution early on. And in the beginning, there has been what some may look at as we only speak from the remembrance of the energy. The vessel has not read or does not know any of your work. We can only articulate what the vessel feels in the energy that we feed into this. We would say that there has been DNA changes which are still occurring and are occurring more rapidly now. It is a vibration of the energies that are, even then, it was the changes of vibrations of minerals, vibrations of land formation, vibrations that came from different dimensional aspects of company that came from other what you would put the terms to as a planetary company, extraterrestrials. Some they call as the Anunnakis. They call some as the Zulazem.
And are you how did you find us to channel through your information through us, or through to us? How did you find us, and how do you fit into these different groups of beings or entities? Are you not part of the Anunnaki group of beings? Are you from a different group of beings?
There is a time frame of slavery, they would call it. Many workers. This is a visitation. When the vessel asks for guidance, the group that works with the vessel may allow a visitation. As an observer, we are coming in as a collectiveness of one, remembering as though, if to put it as an I, as one of the workers. Much mining during this time that we were exposed to was to mine many of the, to build for what we perceived as giants, or we would see them as some not so friendly, and others friendly.
When you call it a vessel, when you use the word vessel, do you refer to planet Earth?
The vessel is the occupation, or the physicalness of the
body.
we speak through. We are communicating through the vessel.
They're communicating through Terry's body, and they term it as the vessel. Like Terry's body's the vessel.
Okay.
So
So
we are allowing ourselves to bring this energy through as a remembrance, a signature of the remembrance of that energy.
and was it gold that was sought after in the beginning on this planet?
Gold is always
At a stage and use that as an energy source. Is that accurate?
gold has been used as an energy source. Even in the times forward, they still look at gold as an energy source. We cannot put a time to what you are trying to define at this point unless we are in the energy source itself. The energy source itself, we have a barrier right now. We can only tell you what we can remember through the signature of the energy. We realize that you are looking for particular answers, and usually we are able to pick up answers through the energy stream of what you look for. Given ample awareness of that energy, what happens inside the frame of the sight and the feelings of this vessel can only bring up what is remembered as the entity comes to visit. The entity was a slave. The entity dug for gold. The entity feels the essence of what it felt like to be in that situation at that time, how it thought, or how it feared, or how it lived.
Was there the main reason for the demise and the destruction of the civilization here in southern Africa and in the rest of the world at the same time, but mostly predominantly here based on my discoveries here and my theories? Was the main reason for the destruction what we would call the Great Flood?
For the renewal, there had to have been a rebirth, just as there shall be again.
And am I right in assuming, or again postulating? Am I right in the conclusions that I'm making here that the largest areas of gold mining in ancient human times, in the first period of human history, were here in southern Africa?
Yes. Along with other minerals.
Along with other minerals, I believe also that later they started mining iron and all the other minerals, so that would be accurate?
Yes. Yes. There was much activity and aliveness during those times prior to the flood. There was great civilizations. There was a language that we most began to forget after that time frame, after the Great Flood.
I also get a sense that although we call it slavery, it wasn't harsh slavery.
No, it was a way of life.
I didn't hear that, excuse me.
It was their way of life.
It was their way of life. I sometimes describe it, I'm beginning to promote a new concept to the world, which I call contributionism. Maybe that energy has come through to you already, and it is to create a new world social structure of liberating the people from the enslavement of money. And I believe it's the only way to go ahead. I also believe that the first 270,000 years or so of human existence, people lived in what could be called, the first humans lived in what could be called the prototype of a contributionist society, where they had everything they needed, everything was provided, but their lives revolved around mining gold and other minerals.
and there were other species type. There was other species that did not agree upon this, although it seemed like it was a way of life to them, and it was basically the energy design of that species at that time. So to us, it would be considered slavery at a later time. And even those who speak of it today, they look at that as slavery, because there was no other, for those who wanted to look at it differently and move away from it, because there was just not those species of the Anunnaki or the Nephilims or those who came that were along there. Those same species had different subspecies who did not agree upon the way that humanity was being treated, or that they had no growth in their energy field, because it became almost to some an obsession of having this, having it worked in this way until these species began to evolve to a higher awareness. Does this?
Are you aware of what we refer to as planet Nibiru?
The planet Nibiru comes through as a star of, as though these are those who wish to come through as bringing the answer to all. The planet Nibiru are the choice makers.
Are you familiar with the well recognized in our current research and written history? Are you familiar with the names Enki, Enlil, and Anu?
Because of the, we will have to change the energy signature to answer this. When the at this time we cannot answer this.
Okay. And at the moment, everybody is concerned about 2012 and what is going to happen during 2012, the catastrophe. Is there any information and knowledge that you have that we can learn from or benefit from? Is it something that you can share with us?
We will bring in the council. The 2012 is a time of change, a time of we bring into those who are seeking the answers to the 2012, and it is a time of change. It is a time of transformation for many. The earth is already in this transformation and change, and there is an energy that is becoming more of what we may call the ethereal energy of a separation of the earth. And there are many of those who are beginning to awaken into the aspect of transformation, and is rising up into this energy field of this new change. 2012 is depicted as the end of time, although the time has already shifted. And when those are in their fear-based awareness, look at the end of the world, it is not the end of the world as we see it. It is the end of time. It is a time of change. A new evolution of man is basically what we see as the awareness of 2012. 2012 is already begun. All the transformations have already begun. Yourself as a historian, we see, has many of these answers through the time that you are bringing forth. You are bringing forth answers to for many of the light workers, if you want to call them that, of those who are evolving. Their DNA is changing. There is much energy that is shifting, and you are just a part of that shift to help those to remember. You are exposing the energy because we will be living in that energy. We will be understanding that energy, just as many of those species early in the beginning understood energy much, actually more than what we understand it today. We are bringing back that remembrance, and this is what you have been doing, is helping those to shift into that energy to remember. In order to be able to remember brings in what they might call this new age or this new earth.
Some people believe that there will be some kind of a frequency separation
This is what we speak
of the conscious and the unconscious, almost like different television channels. They exist side by side, but they don't know about each other. I seem to resonate with that kind of feeling, because the planet is too divided, it is too diverse. There's too much conflict and too many diverse opinions, and huge gaps between those that understand and those that don't understand, and those that are conscious and those that are unconscious. And the only way to reconcile that is, in my opinion, through a frequency separation.
There is a lot of turmoil that you speak of in reference to those that are awakening and remembering, and the earth itself. There has to be a break somewhere, and this is where the 2012 comes into, where there will be a lot more clarity that comes forth. It is all of the frequencies and the transmissions, not from just the earth, but outside that information. This is how, even with those who are now beginning to break through the energy of their fear-based world, who allow themselves to open up, it is there is so much more involved in this transition than just one part of the story. And because there is so much involved, there are many of you as yourself that are channels yourself, who are driven to expose. And so when this transition comes, there will be a frequency break. the frequency break will, this is why there are so many of these energies that are awakening people, awakening the energy people, so that they can actually come out and expose this difference. And there are many that are not awakening at all. And so when this happens, this is where the division will occur. And it takes the exposure to make this happen. And when you talk about the Nibiru, they have a specific plan in mind that will bring this forth. Does this make sense?
That is interesting information, because that concurs with previous information that I received in a different channeling with a higher entity.
Yes,
And
it is difficult to bring out all of the information at once, not just one channel or one, it comes out in bits and pieces of energy. For we come to help the change, to put all the little pieces together, so that eventually when the shift is to take place, what will happen is that clarity will come to those. And this Nibiru, even though there are many different stories and different perceptions of who the Nibiru may be, the Nibiru have the power and the technology and the awareness and as though they are from the beginning, and to create the separation to some. And because we know that this vessel practices unconditional love and is a healer, there is a struggle at times of saying what we wish for the vessel to say, the destruction of man. There is a new birth, a new beginning that is beginning to be created. And so there are many that are waking up to remember, as those many have been here before and have done this before.
do you have any knowledge about my previous times and being here before? Do you know anything about that?
It would be much easier to be in the presence of your energy to remember you. We do know that you have been from early times. You're very old, and you have come here at this time, and you were here also at a time of when during the Great Flood. It is for you to remember that time would bring you to this time. It is like an energy signature of how you would come from even during the early times during the times of what others would call slavery, but during that early species time, when that ending came about, you were also there. You were also there at the Great Flood, just as the vessel and many others who are out there to give out information have been in those same energy signatures. You choose to bring forth to help that separation to occur.
If I gave you a clue or a hint as to what I've been told, have you got the capacity to resonate with whether that is accurate or true or whether it is false?
It would be much more appropriate for the vessel to be in your presence, but you may try. This is the first time that we have really gone this far to speak through transition and through this type of mechanical. Sometimes mechanical gets in the way. Bring information through. It is more for the parties who are listening at the time to discern what is for them to take in as that information. Whether it resonates or it does not resonate, it is just messages of energy. So there, we do not give out names. Every once in a while, there is one that pops up, such as there is a mantis that comes through this vessel that helps the vessel see different types of species and to understand their way. The Andromedans come through for the vessel is a healer. And the Andromedans help the vessel in those aspects of healing. There are we are the ones who are the vessel's teacher, or the guidance system of the vessel. These visitations can be unique, or they can be practiced to help the vessel communicate to the public eye.
Are any of your group referred to? Sometimes we hear references to the light workers or the atas and such names. Are any of your group, do they fall into those groups?
The light workers is what they call this vessel. There are waves of energy that are awakening many of the Earth species. There are usually in certain time frames, especially now, to help transition the change. In the vessels, more of what you would call the awake state, as the vessel goes within guidance, the vessel uses much of its work in the healing of awakening others.
And the influence on planet Earth, is there a special name for planet Earth among your group?
There is, this is a question that has never been asked. There are seven. Some see the planet as a visitation. Others sees it as a vacation. Some see it as the most beautiful star. We may not be able to answer that just yet.
Okay, so there isn't an obvious name that everybody uses that is not of this earth.
No, not all.
Okay. And then the influence on planet Earth in the past, I've come across many different star systems that keep popping up as the major influence on our planet. And could you confirm if this is in fact so? For example, Sirius being the binary star to our sun. Can you confirm if that is in fact so?
We have brought Sirius into the vessels. Sirius is who, that energy of Sirius is the one who has awakened this vessel into this reality that there is more than the angelic realm. Sirius has taken the vessel. There has been trips to Sirius in the vessel's awareness. It is exciting to the vessel, for it is a very different types of species that are all Syrian, as though they have their own lifestyle of energy there. It is, we see this in the vessel as the vessel has visited and been there, the same as this vessel that has brought this U2 together here. It is a remembrance of this energy of Sirius. They're very communal on this, in the way that they carry their energy signature.
Okay, so then the answer would be that Sirius has had a major impact on development of planet Earth.
Absolutely. It is this is why many are remembering Sirius. And Sirius is allowing them to remember, because when transition occurs, many life forms will transition back to the certain ways of life. There has been technology that has been given to Earth from Sirius. There has been saving the planet type information has come from Sirius.
And then other star systems that come up in research is also the Pleiades and Orion. What can you tell us about that?
The Orion system in this group there is a Sirian, that communicates through this vessel. This is through the Orion belt.
Was Sirius at some stage in the past part of the Orion belt constellation?
Yes. And it is also, there is quite a few sectors in the Orion, in the Orion belt that had the Syrian occupation. This is a very powerful energy source that has much of the light. When you speak of light workers, these some of these are healers and others are warriors. We lightly bring this to the attention when is needed to know, only to help the remembrance of it. So when it comes to that point when the Syrians wish to give us the information for what is yet to come, we bring this forth. In the meantime, it is because of this vessel is not ready for what those who come out and speak of energy wars and other aspects of danger. The vessel will only allow the light to come through as we speak, for it would only interfere with the work that we have prepared for the vessel. So the Syrians.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Carry on.
It is perfectly fine. What is it that you wish to say?
I wanted to ask about the Pleiades as well, on top of the...
The Pleiades are not in this council. In the Andromedan is in this council. There is a the Pleiades have not communicated through this vessel for that is not part of the seven. Do you understand?
So all that I understand. Thank you very much. The seven ETs or species that you mentioned are all outside of our galaxy.
They are in a dimensional. They are in a dimensional shift of the galaxy. Yes, they have. When they come, many of the people are looking at these in a linear sense of an awareness. When you look at the visitations of the extraterrestrial at a linear sense, it creates a sense of fear. Although what happens is that these energies also come through a dimensional awareness as visitations. So we look at this and we express to others that when
there are some very interesting structures that we have found here, and that I have hypothesized about what they were for. One of them one of these structures is a very peculiar combination of hexagonal type stone structures that are clustered together, just like a honeycomb, a beehive honeycomb. And I believe that was originally for the cloning purposes of the new species. Can you confirm that or unconfirm that?
We cannot confirm that until we see or feel the energy of it. It is
I'm
new.
doing my best to send you the energy. I'm visualizing it. I'm doing my best to send it to you.
Yes, we have.
It's just,
We do have the picture of it, just as we have sent the vessel over to your side. The vessel remembers being there in an earlier life, although it is just bits and pieces of energy transformation. It would be, you state that you will be coming to the this side for traveling. The vessel will meet with you and pick up the energies, for the vessel is an empath. It can only read what it feels, and it is its strongest as an empath. Then the information comes through as a lot easier than it does right now in this transition of division through mechanical devices.
and the place that we call Adam's calendar, does that bring more energy? Is it stronger in your mind to tell us more about that?
No, we cannot. This is not something that we recall.
The person that I've been told that I have been in a previous life is the name Dumuzi. Does that resonate with you at all?
When the vessel comes into your presence, the vessel will be able to speak more of your life. You have lived many lifetimes in the area that you are in now. It is familiar to you, is it not? You
Very familiar.
Yes, you have lived, this is home to you, and it feels like home, and you are remembering everything that you are experiencing, for you are exposing what you remember. This is why you are doing what you are doing at this particular time, for you have chose to come here to bring this remembrance up through a higher consciousness, and then expose the information to others. And so,
Well, that definitely concurs with previous messages and channels that I have had.
yes,
So I feel very happy to hear that.
yes. And there is the vessel has also been there in a previous time, and so has the vessel. Joseph has been there. The vessel has had an experience with a Zan, either in a place called Zanzibar, or the name of Zanzibar comes through, and the vessel was a very large, tall, skinny woman that felt like 10 feet tall, and very admired by all as a tribal awareness. It was during a very poetic remembrance of the death of the what was it? The leader of the tribe, the chieftain of the tribe, and it was a remembrance of that life in that area of where you are right now. Many trying in hard times, but at the same time a flourishing time of communal and tribal awareness.
I also reached a conclusion that there were about at least 50 million people over a very long period of time from the origins of our species that lived here in southern Africa mining gold. I work it out to be about 270,000 years, but it was a continuation of about 50 million people that stayed here, and maybe even more. Could you confirm that that was so large?
During that time before the shifts of the earth, it is almost as if the shifts of the polar shift went backwards. And what has happened is that what used to be alive there may not be alive now. And it was a different type of energy. Yes, there was many that occupied that part of the earth. The earth was very different then.
And they used, as we mentioned before, they used sound frequency and sound vibrations as an energy source. Is that correct?
Yes, as they are beginning to remember and do now as well. This is happening now as well.
I see the Ankh because we found what everyone believes to be the Egyptian Ankh.
Yes.
We actually find the evidence here in South Africa that it was used here long before. They used it in Egypt, and it was used as an energy generating device, as a tuning fork kind of tool to do all kinds of things with, generate energy and heal and many other amazing things. Would that be correct?
It is correct. It is a very favorite symbol of the vessel. And it is, for the vessel, remembers many of those lifetimes with that energy of the Ankh. It has brought into this lifetime many of the awarenesses and the energy of that time of healing that was used. For the vessel has lived many lifetimes as the healer and the communicator. And so the Ankh is very special when it is used for energy, yes.
Is there any advice that we can get from you and your special council of 7 that obviously has advanced knowledge? Is there any special advice you can give us how we should approach to harness the energy in the stone circles, the sound energy in the stone circles, which we have measured there is, but I do not know at this stage if we have the knowledge to use that sound frequency for a source of energy of all types. Is there any advice that you can give us?
We as the council would say to use that energy at the appropriate time. The appropriate time, all information will be revealed to you and others who are working with you. It is keeping it out of the hands of those who want to use that energy as for warlike information. It is an energy that could be used to create the transition of humanity. It is the energy that could create the new earth and create all the changes that are about to occur for humanity. It is energy that you would be able to communicate with in the intent. It is the energy that that could create life. It is the energy that could bring life through it. Much for communication.
And
There is
also light and heat.
Yes, there is an exciting feeling inside. For there is like a rumble of that energy that is speaking through, as though this is a very good energy that that is very much to be used, and all those who can help you will be coming in your direction to when that perfect time frame is about to occur. So you will be able to bring that forth just through the intent of wanting to know the language of that energy. It is all.
I was also told. Sorry, carry on.
That is okay. The energy's broke. What would you like to say?
I was also told that some of the devices that were created to generate energy here are big stone structures. Obviously, we've mentioned this before. They're large stone structures with 22, 25, 30 meter diameters and even larger. And I have been told by other information from other sources that these were the prototypes of the energy devices that are very, very powerful, extremely powerful, much more powerful than anyone on Earth has ever been able to even imagine. I understand that, but many others will not be able to understand that yet because they don't think along those lines. But I was told that it was these devices that much later caused the destruction of Atlantis because they were misused. Would that be accurate?
Yes, the vessel came from Atlantis at one time, and there was much information. They had too much information and did not know how to use it correctly. This was their own demise. It was like you may have said that they got too smart and too scientific in their ways of thinking, and they had all this information, just as we are seeing it happen again. They take all this information and use it for all the wrong reasons, such as power. Power would be the word.
So would it be accurate to say then that they misused these energy devices that we still see here in South Africa and in Zimbabwe?
Absolutely.
The remains of those devices, and they used them and they misused the same devices on Atlantis, which then caused the destruction of that continent.
Yes, and they are doing the same now. It is. So each time that this spin around, and we have this opportunity to change, it's just like going from one lifetime of energy to another lifetime of energy, and you allow yourself to experience similar situations in order to evolve and to grow and to expand the consciousness. And it is the same with these envelopes of time. You have the new earth, and then another new earth, and another new earth of new beginnings in order to be able to be given the same opportunities, and to raise this consciousness, to use it in more of a light than in the darkness. And there are always those that are opposing, that wishes to, out of power, greed, that wish to pull this and keep you in that energy of dark and light. So the light and the dark are always opposing one another when it comes to the energy of it. So it is placed in form. So the same thing with these fragmentations of energy of time. So here we are at the end of time, like Atlantis. And so Nibiru, that comes through, will be almost like a decision maker, is what we bring forth. For it is that energy of how much we want to use this energy for life. The energy that you are exposing, the energy that other people are exposing, such as stargates, and how much do we want to use to expand life?
Would you say that, or would you agree, or what is your advice or feedback on the whole concept of money on our planet? My belief is that is the one thing that is the cause of all the device used for holding back the species from growing more quickly in their consciousness and reaching higher levels of energy. And money is the tool of enslavement that is holding the people back. So would you agree with my philosophy that we need to move towards a world without money and what I call the contributionist system?
We would agree, and we would say that this is a part of the transition. The part of the transition is that when, even prior to the early flood, there was a time, I believe that the biblical term of where property or gold was more important than humanity. And so it is the same with the money in this time frame. It is like the gold, it is more important than humanity. Well, eventually it has to go. And when you start all over again, it gives you that opportunity to not have that power. But it's all about power on that dark side, if you wish to call it, or opposing side. And many of us...
And is it...
Continue.
Sorry for interrupting. Is it possible that the shift in 2012 is going to be is going to benefit this shift towards a moneyless planet, where we move towards a breaking down the concept of hierarchy and breaking down the concept of superiority, and realize the oneness of the species and start moving towards the oneness and more towards... Would you say that 2012 could play a role in that?
2012 will play a role in that, for that is the energy, part of the energy shift, which you are beginning to slowly see that now. It is a given that man must come back to its natural form. And in order to do that, there will be a destruction of financial power. And it is coming soon.
Has it got something to do with the activity of the sun?
The activity of the sun could be the destruction of the old earth. For those who are raising in the consciousness will be traveling with the new Earth. It is a frequency. Was that answered correctly in order to what you were looking for?
Yes, it was. Thank you very much. I'm just thinking about what else I need to ask. I'm starting to run out of questions right now.
And the vessel...
I have so much on my mind.
Yes. The vessel will only be able to take too much more of this, for it depletes the vessel's
energy.
yes. And
But in that case, I don't want to deplete the vessel's energy any longer because I know what it feels like personally.
Yes,
So
you do.
I would like to say thank you very much for sharing your knowledge and experience and wisdom with us. And hopefully we can do this again to get some more information and to get more enlightenment and more knowledge that we can start building our own base of knowledge and a more understanding of our human history.
yes, it would be an honor. And it would be an honor to allow the vessel to be in the presence of this energy, for you have a greatness and a great opportunity, and you have brought forth such wonderful answers to the great puzzle, and you will be involved in even greater transitions as this shift begins to move. It is an honor as well.
Well, thank you very much. I feel honored to be given this information, and please let the vessel rest, well-deserved rest, and we'll speak again soon.
Mm.
And this is Joe Mara from Universal Talk with Terry Ippoletti and Michael Tellinger on June 10th, 2010. And Terry and I are here in central Pennsylvania, and Michael Tellinger is in South Africa. And we're doing a telecommunication for the first time through Universal Talk and through Terry's channels. There is just a little bit of a limitation or a barrier, if you will, as you can see, because of the distance. But in the future, I really would like to get the three of us together to combine our energies, because, as we all know, everything is energy.
My heart is beating really fast.
So how are you feeling, Terry?
I feel pretty good. I'm a little dehydrated. I always come out of them a little dehydrated, and it's kind of like it'll all blend in with me later on down the road. You know, like there'll be more insight that's going to pop up, and I don't know how much more time we have.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, and it's just I'll be able to understand you a little bit more. I tell you the truth, I've never watched your YouTubes and I've never read your books, so I apologize. But
that's better. That's even it gives it more credibility, you know.
I'm not really sure what I said, to tell you the truth.
I'll have a sip of water for you.
Yeah, I got one over there. Thanks. So I hope it was pretty knowledgeable for you. Joe's been, even though I'm leaving Joe, I'm moving to Arizona in another week or two. Joe has been a great facilitator for me, because he really helped me get a little more stronger in this and accepting what has been going on, you know, through these channels, and bringing them to at least to this council that comes through.
Well, were you doubting it? Were you doubting yourself at some stage?
Oh my God, for a long time, because I used to spontaneously do this and not even know I was doing it. I was losing bouts of time all the time, and I told Joe about it, and he helped me get it into some type of a semblance. So I have no idea what I'm going to be doing in the future, but we'll just see where it goes. You know,
That's fantastic. That's amazing. That's an amazing story in itself.
I've got a lot of amazing stories, to tell you the truth. I'm trying to figure out how to write them, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, Teresa, so you say you're going to Arizona?
Yes, I'm being called for some reason.
Okay.
I just feel that about 5 years ago I was called to Wisconsin, and I recognized what that was all about, and then I ended up coming back here and meeting Joe, and then now I feel this strong urgency. I met some people out there, and it's not that they're calling me, it's just the energy out there is calling me. So I have a feeling it has something to do with my growth here.
And are you going to Phoenix or?
Probably up higher, like Mesa or Apache Junction. That's where I was. I was hiking up Superstition Mountain, and Joe was with me, and all kinds of stuff was coming through. I mean, talk about waking up all my senses. And it was like I was going into a past life and seeing myself jump off of a cliff, as an Apache Indian. And then all of a sudden these green orbs of light started coming through my body, and I'm seeing this river of blood, and I'm watching, it's like I went from past, present, and future all at once, and then what happened.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's different. I'm excited at times, and other times when things like real new comes, I'm not afraid anymore. That's one thing I have to admit. I'm not afraid anymore, but there were a time when I was afraid, I have to admit. I lived in that fear-based world.
Yeah, well, that fear factor thing, that's what keeps us all enslaved, isn't it? It's really, that's the major.
Yeah, I think my channels have brought that to my attention, that we're still in slavery.
Fear and doubt.
Right now, yeah.
We are more enslaved now, I believe, personally. My feeling is that we're more enslaved now than at any times before, because of the way that the financial system and money has become an unquestionable, unassailable religion.
Yes. Well, you know what?
Imagine a world without money. Well, this is what I try and teach people in my contributionist messages. It's so simple to do that, and I show them very quickly and very easily in a few basic steps how you can turn this world of suppression and economic hierarchy into an equality of all and create an abundance beyond belief. Because the moment you remove money and you replace it with the desire for humans to fulfill their dreams, you create such abundance of wealth in everything, on every level, from science to food to social arts and culture to technology and engineering and everything. The abundance is so overwhelming that we can't imagine it in a capitalistic system.
Not right now, we can't, but we will later on, won't we? I truly believe that this is...
anything to do with it.
Oh, let me tell you, you got a tremendous amount of power, so just by that energy that you're carrying right now, you watch what happens. And put them together with a few of people of like minds, just see what happens. And, this is why we're waking up. We're waking up to get that energy out of there. To get that that energy of all this power. Some people call it the Illuminati, some people call it the powers that be or whatever. But the whole aspect of it is that once we get together and we see the simplicity, everything is in simplicity. Once we get past our egos and we get past our the what we've been conditioned to believe, and this is why many of us are beginning to awaken to this understanding, because this will be the new earth, and there will be.
You know what? You're talking about the ego and all that, and the biggest threats to contributionism or a world without money are rich people, okay? Because they fear losing what they have, and they fear losing the control over others. And yet then they sit in boardroom meetings, and then the CEO starts to talk to all the guys in the boardroom saying, yeah, geez, when I was 10 years old, we used to go down there and we used to make flyers for fly fishing, and then I used to sell them on the side of the road. And I said, well, wouldn't you rather be doing that?
Yeah.
Living in fear that you're going to lose your empire, and having sleepless nights and firing people and wheeling and dealing and having a miserable life because you just want this control, but you don't really want it. You got to the stage where you can't let it go because you don't know what else to do.
I totally understand that, but you know what? You know what? Don't give yourself a heart attack. The whole aspect of it is that it is going to change, and you are a significant part of helping that change transition. And that is a blessing all by itself, because the more people who bring that energy through, that same consciousness, that same type of thought pattern, okay, what happens is that it's inevitable. It's just going to happen. And everything else is going to crumble. It's almost like it's just going to happen out of the blue. And of course, there's going to be a lot of people suffering. You know, even my trip to Arizona, I'm not even thinking about the money. I'm just going. You know, and I have found that when you get into that consciousness, it just comes to you. It's like it is amazing. I used to not make money, and I made money, and both times I felt poor. You know, and then finally when I broke out of that, consciousness, it's almost like everything comes to me. Just like and I say, oh man, what did I do? progression to channeling to astrology, you name it. To me, they just come to me. Basically, they come to me through practice. They come to me from opposite. And what happens is that each one of those tools, when I do those tools, it actually helps those people. And of course, tools that I don't know I have, okay, which is the outside energies. Basically, these Yeah.
You know, Michael, there's a place in Pennsylvania, Lancaster, I think the town is called Green Rock. In fact, a lot of people should show up there and bring their hammers, and each rock has a different whether it be frequency or a different sound, but as you strike the rock there, it rings.
I used to do that as a kid. It's pretty cool. You guys to hear what they have to say, whether it's valid or not. So, no, I let myself, go. I know that when I first started, I used to work in the actual world, but when soldier shot me soldier got shot in the mouth, and I lost a tooth, I decided that
Very novel transition. The ethereal bodies that we were building as this energy changes, changing us as a human species.
very